All right, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to welcome our citizens to our first SPLOST educational session that we're trying to provide context to what's happening in the cities and the county as it pertains to the 2020 SPLOST initiative. Before we get started, we want to kind of provide context to this afternoon's Zoom call. You have several of our city managers on the call today. My name is Dietrich Stanford. I serve as the Chief Operating Officer for Clayton County Board of Commissioners. And so we'll give each of our city managers an opportunity to introduce themselves, and then we'll talk more about the format for today's meeting. Mr. Clark.
Good morning. My name is Ricky Clark, City Manager for the City of Jonesboro.
Chris.
I'm Chris Leidy. I'm the City Manager for the City of Lake City.
And Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Wood, the City Manager of Riverdale.
All right, gentlemen. I thank you all for giving of your time on this busy Wednesday afternoon. So really the format today is that we will play a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation that's narrated that will give you an overview of what SPLOST is. SPLOST is the Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. And again, this is the way a lot of our cities in the county fund a lot of our capital projects within our respective municipalities. After the 15-minute video, we'll give the city managers an opportunity to provide more context to their respective projects in the cities. And then of course, we want to give you, our citizens, an opportunity to pose any questions. If you would go into our chat, provide your question, we can see your question in that space. Q&A, go to the Q&A. Provide your question there, and then we'll make it a priority to try to address your respective question. If we're unable to provide context to your question today, there will be an area on the county's website and probably on our respective cities' websites to address those respective questions. So to that end, we'll go ahead and get started with the PowerPoint presentation. It's about 15 minutes. We'll come back with you, address any questions you may have, and we're anticipating maybe anywhere between 35 to 40 minutes on the Zoom call this afternoon.
Clayton County SPLOST 2020, a community collaboration for all of Clayton County. In 1985, the Georgia legislature gave counties the option to implement a 1-cent special purpose local option sales tax, commonly known as SPLOST. It is a 1% or 1 penny per dollar collected for capital improvement projects. SPLOST is not a new tax. Voters will decide on the proposed continuation of the current 1% sales tax. Since 2004, Clayton County voters have approved a series of 1% SPLOST to fund many capital projects and improvements in all districts of the county. So what is the breakdown of the sales tax you pay? The state of Georgia collects a fixed sales tax of 4%. The proposed continuation of the 1% optional county SPLOST will be used for capital improvement projects. The optional Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority, or MARTA, receives 1% for public transportation. The optional Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, or eSPLOST, is a 1% education tax that the school district can use for capital improvement projects such as building new schools, purchasing buses, and more. In addition, the optional local option sales tax is a 1% sales tax that is used for specific local or area projects such as improving area streets and roads or refurbishing a community's city areas. SPLOST funds keep property taxes lower and allows tourists, renters, and non-residents to contribute to the betterment of Clayton County with the proposed continuation of the 1% sales tax. Therefore, those who visit our county to dine at our restaurants, shop at our local malls, shops, gas stations, and other businesses contribute to help make improvements throughout the county. In general, the tax may be levied or in place for up to 5 years. If the renewal is approved, collections would begin January 2021. An estimated $280 million is projected to be collected during the 5-year renewal period. The county and cities agreed to share the SPLOST funds for improvements. Voters will decide on the proposed continuation of the county SPLOST program in the election on June 9th. Early and advanced voting will be held May 18th through May 22nd from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., May 26th through May 29th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., May 30th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., May 31st from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., and June 1st through June 5th from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. For additional details on early and advanced voting locations, visit www.claytoncountyga.gov. Funds are invested in various projects in all districts that have long-term impact and use for all Clayton County citizens, like our senior centers, which happen to be the only nationally accredited senior centers in the state of Georgia, as well as recreation centers, fire stations, police precincts, 911 center, equipment, technology, roadways, bridges, large-scale transportation improvements, and park and trail improvements throughout the county. Additionally, SPLOST has minimized long-term debt in Clayton County and saved more than $300 million in financing costs compared to issuing bonds. Thanks to voter approval of the 1% SPLOST, the Flint River Community Center is under construction and will be located on a 21-acre site on Flint River Road. This is a collaborative effort between the Senior Services Department and the Parks and Recreation Department. This facility will provide recreation and activity areas for multiple generations of families to share. It will feature for the first time in Clayton County a black box theater designed especially for live performances with flexible stage and seating arrangements. The facility will also feature areas for all ages such as game rooms, exercise rooms, a multi-purpose gym area, and an outdoor splash pod. The Clayton County Library System contributes to the community and its citizens by offering services that meet their informational, educational, and leisure interests. There are 6 libraries located in the county and a total of 2,992 library programs and over 500,000 books. The new Northwest Branch Library will be the 7th library in Clayton County. It is also currently under construction and includes enclosed and individual rooms, meeting rooms designed for daily functions with a capacity of more than 40 people, and areas known as maker space that will be utilized for creative activities. The furniture, fixtures, and equipment will be mobile and easy to move around and will include furniture with charging stations for phones, laptops, and other mobile devices. Located on Anvil Block Road in Ellenwood, this new senior center will be the 4th SPLOST-funded senior center in Clayton County. It will provide the opportunity for expanded services and programs that promote independence, dignity, and enhance the quality of life for older adults. New features include a lap swimming pool, state-of-the-art fitness center, a community garden, and large multi-purpose space for performing arts and other activities. Clayton County Senior Services Department enhances the quality of life for elderly citizens by assessing and expanding an in-home service delivery model. The programs offered are designed with an emphasis on health and wellness, which include health screenings, exercise programs, nutrition, education, and field trips. Clayton County Senior Centers are the only nationally accredited senior centers in Georgia. Located at International Park in Jonesboro, the planned Lake Spivey Recreation Center has been combined with the new Parks and Recreation Administration Building project to create one new complex. The new facility will be integrated with the Lake Spivey Trail, part of the Clayton Connects trail system. It boasts a modern, family-friendly design with a lodge feel. In addition to an indoor swimming pool, this center will provide new amenities never offered to our citizens before, such as a spin cycle studio, CrossFit training, and a cafe and coffee shop. New administrative offices will provide a central location for the administrative staff to plan and supervise the many programs they offer. Here, residents will be able to register for programs, pick up information, volunteer, and learn about upcoming signature events. For more information on active and completed projects, visit www.claytonsplost.com. If the proposed 1% county SPLOST is approved by voters, the county plans to invest in a new 85,000 square foot Clayton County Administration building that will consolidate departments and help centralize services like human resources, legal, finance, and other Board of Commissioners departments and services under one roof, which may include a parking deck. Another proposed project is the Clayton County Behavioral Health Crisis Center, a freestanding facility where patients with urgent or psychiatric needs can receive crisis stabilization services in a safe, structured manner with 24-hour observation and supervision. The Clayton County Justice Center that opened in 2000, which is also a SPLOST-funded project, will receive upgrades to its roof, HVAC replacement, and sewer system upgrades. SPLOST would also fund the floor replacement of the Frank Bailey Senior Center. Replacing the carpet and other flooring will present a clean upgrade and appeal for the facility. The Green Space Master Plan is a proposed continuation involving destination accessibility for alternate means of transportation, acquisition of green space tracts, and walkable communities, which would include park-managed woodlands, forestry areas, and trails. A new helicopter is proposed for the police department. The aviation unit currently operates 2 helicopters, a 1990 Bell 206L3 purchased in 1996 and a 1971 Bell OH-58C that was transferred from the Department of Defense in 1996 under the Law Enforcement Support Office and serves as a surplus aircraft. As a result, when the police department no longer operates this helicopter, it must be returned to LESO. In addition, the DoD no longer operates the Bell OH-58 helicopters, and Bell no longer manufactures OH-58s or its civilian counterpart, the 206. Economically, the police department would no longer be able to operate either in the future. Clayton County Fire and Emergency Services has led the way in hiring a diverse workforce with a staff of nearly 30% female. Station 2 was constructed prior to the department hiring its first female firefighter and will account for a diverse workforce. The Police Academy is currently housed in the basement of police headquarters. There is no space for growth, and staff has to move between the gun range in Lovejoy and classroom space in Jonesboro. Building an academy at the gun range will allow the police department to update the existing range, which is used by other agencies, including federal agencies, as well as build a facility that we can showcase for recruitment and growth of our public safety officials and a safer Clayton County. Additionally, models for portable radios purchased in 2014 to 2015 need to be replaced to ensure public safety maintains critical communications capabilities. Public safety vehicle replacements would assist with overall annual maintenance costs per vehicle and will allow Clayton County Police Department to offer better incentives for potential officers for take-home vehicles and helps to offset reduction in salary. We all benefit from transportation projects including road resurfacing, sidewalks, pedestrian crossings, corridor improvements, bridges, traffic signals, operational and safety improvements, and more as part of the Clayton County Comprehensive Transportation Plan. Safety along our roadways, like street lighting, is also important. Potential projects would include lighting and/or pedestrian lighting along corridors that are not addressed by the county residential streetlight program. Since the county streetlight program is only residential based, it has been difficult for the county to obtain streetlights in non-residential areas. Georgia's second largest convention center, the Georgia International Convention Center, is in need of capital improvements and renovations. Located in the city of College Park, just 1/4 mile from the busiest airport in the world, the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the GICC is the only convention center directly connected to a major airport. The city of Forest Park is in need of improvements for facilities, parks, and greenways. Also proposed is the purchase of equipment and vehicles for various departments. In Jonesboro, SPLOST improvement proposed projects include Broad Street Plaza, sidewalks, trails, and street improvements, as well as the construction of a new city center. SPLOST project improvements for Lake City includes upgrades to the Lake City Community Center, the Lake City Community Park, the Oswald Nature Preserve, and upgrades to public safety and public works vehicles. SPLOST project improvements for the city of Lovejoy include sidewalks, intersections, roads and traffic lights, road resurfacing, public safety equipment, and technology upgrades. Proposed improvements for the city of Morrow include parks and recreation, public safety vehicles, and equipment and upgrades to buildings and facilities. And in Riverdale, proposed SPLOST projects include building and infrastructure improvements, upgrade to streets and roads, in addition to quality of life projects and public safety equipment. For more information on Clayton County SPLOST, visit www.claytonsplost.com.
All right, gentlemen. So first of all, I'd like to thank our information technology department for putting together that PowerPoint presentation to give an overview of, one, what SPLOST is all about, the county projects that are presently active, but also what are the proposed projects under the referendum that our citizens will have an opportunity to vote on between now with advanced voting and the actual vote on June 9th. So with that, I want to give each city manager an opportunity to provide either more context or provide any other information you think would be beneficial to the citizens as they're listening to this Zoom call. So let's start with City of Jonesboro.
Thank you, Mr. Stanford. First, we'd like to say we appreciate all of you for tuning in today, and we appreciate your continuous support of SPLOST over the years. Just a few projects that our community can resonate with. Lee Street Park. Lee Street Park is a benefactor of a passage of a SPLOST. With this current SPLOST, we're looking to continue work on the Broad Street Plaza concept. This concept includes streetscaping, it includes a brew pub, it includes a large plaza area, it includes lighting, it includes a way for our community to really have this epicenter that will allow everything else to grow around it. Since we've started work on the Broad Street Plaza concept, we've seen about 7 different property owners or investors come in to start changing what that downtown district looks like. In addition to that, we're also seeking to erect a new city hall. As the last, I think we're the only city hall that's still located within a house. Our current city hall was built around 1923, and at current does not avail for any additional staff, any additional room, because it's completely built out. We have extreme issues with the roof and other things, so we're looking to present this standard building where we combine both our police department functions and our city hall functions under one roof. In addition to it being a municipal complex, this center that we're dubbing the name the Jonesboro City Center will also feature an expanded use for our local entrepreneurs who wish to just come into this city center and work. So to have a live cafe feel in there, etc. Our police department, of course, their headquarters will be there as well. The police department was built around 1947, and at current needs about over $100,000 to $200,000 worth of replacement. And their story is the same as our city hall. It's completely built out as it relates to space, and we have no additional space for offices. In addition to that, just continuity and continuing to improve what our streets around the city look like. As pedestrian deaths continue to increase around our community, we are poised and ready to continue all of our streetscape projects throughout this SPLOST. We've worked hard to try to repair at least 4 to 5 streets every year, just ensuring that our streets stay drivable. So again, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. As we continue to kind of get contact from our respective city managers, we would ask that if you have any questions, please go to the Q&A function, and we will certainly get to a point to address your respective questions. Before we pivot to Mr. Leidy in Lake City, Mr. Clark, we do have a question. With the build of the new city hall for Jonesboro, where will that be located?
I'm sorry, Mr. Stanford, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, so the question was, with the build out of the new city hall for Jonesboro,
Yes,
where
sir.
would that facility be located?
Oh, sure. So the facility will be located directly behind Lee Street Park. We've already worked to assemble a lot of the land. We are about 50% done with the design documents. So the building will be located right there behind the Lee Street Park Amphitheater so that those individuals coming to the city center can walk straight to our downtown district and be only 2 blocks away. That way we're trying to cluster all of our operations in one particular area.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Leidy, if you want to provide additional context to what's happening in Lake City.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sanford, for having this meeting today, and thank you to all those citizens that are participating. You're the reason why we're here doing what we do. Lake City Community Park, for a lot of you have known for years, needed upgraded. Our last, this current SPLOST winter now, we did a really nice renovation of that park. We call it phase 1 because we didn't have money to complete it. If this new SPLOST comes through, we'll complete that upgrade with lighting, cameras for the safety of the participants, as well as implementing and placing the playground equipment back into the park. In addition, folks will be glad to hear this. In conjunction and partnership with the state DOT and with Clayton County, we're doing a SPLOST project that will completely repave Forest Parkway from Highway 54 all the way to Highway 42. That will be completed sometime this summer. It should start here in June and be about 6 weeks to completion date. So that's a good project. If the current SPLOST, so the ones coming up in June, the vote that's important to us, one of the things we really want to see doing is we want to improve our sidewalks within the city itself. We also want to get county sewer connections on the east side of our city. A lot of people may find it interesting to know, as I did, that we do not have county sewer on the east side. And what that does is it really cuts down on the amount of business development that we can have on the east side of our city. We have a lot of property there, but we do not have the sewer connection. And so that preempts some businesses that may want to come into the city and into the county to do business. And the other thing, the big one we want to do is we have along Jonesboro Road, where our city hall is, and our community center, we want to clear out the front of the city hall and connect our community center, city hall, and the Willie Oswalt Nature Preserve, where we have 22-acre nature preserve right here between the two buildings. But a lot of people don't even realize we have that because they don't see it. What we want to do is create a park here in front of our city hall, and we want to be the change to create the change on Jonesboro Road. And so those are some of the projects that we're looking at, as well as updating some of our facilities, as well as preparing police equipment to ensure the safety of our community. So those are some of the projects that Lake City is looking at if the current SPLOST gets approved in June. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So Mr. Wood from the city of Riverdale, you have any areas that you would like to emphasize or highlight in the city?
Well, I would just say that we all know that nothing stays the same. And that particularly applies to governmental structures and roads and vehicles. They will either be improved or they will deteriorate, but they won't stay the same. And what we want to do is stay ahead of the curve and improve our roads, continue to build sidewalks, acquire new public safety vehicles. We know how important it is for our public safety officials to be able to respond to the public, whether it's a fire or a police issue, and they've got to have adequate vehicles to do that. And we are going to continue to work on the improvements to our old city hall. Our new city hall was completed in 2011. But for about 40 years prior to 2011, our city hall was in the building at the intersection of Main Street and Church Street. Today, that building is being used exclusively by our police and fire agencies, but it is in dire need of upgrading roofs, air conditioners, and other internal improvements. So we're going to need about a total of about $4 million to complete those improvements. We have about $1.5 million coming out of the current sales tax program that we're under, and we hope to pick up another $2.5 million and be able to complete that project in the upcoming SPLOST. But one other point for the public to realize is that these funds cannot be used for operational purposes. We cannot use SPLOST monies to pay light bills or to pay salaries or to operate the government. These funds are restricted to capital improvements. But as was pointed out by the narrator in the video presentation, that's what enables us to keep our property taxes at a minimum. So we appreciate the past endorsement and support of the public, but we need it as much now as ever before in June when the referendum is up for vote.
Thank you, Scott. Before I pivot to Mr. Clark in the city of Forest Park to provide context to their respective areas, there was a comment and then there's another question. The comment was road resurfacing in my neighborhood is needed, something to slow cars down traveling on Roundtree Road, that those leaving our neighborhood may turn safely onto Roundtree Road. So the question is providing context to the value of doing resurfacing of road projects. A lot of times you see a lot of municipalities utilize what they call road calming devices, whether you're talking about a roundabout, you're talking about ways for which you can slow the traffic down in your respective communities. We are looking at exploring some other strategies in this new upcoming SPLOST program to include lighting projects as well as road calming opportunities as well. So please look for that as being kind of one of our focal points in this new SPLOST if in fact the citizens see the value in passing it. The other question is, how is it, or the Clayton County District sales tax from Sprint? So the question is dealing with another bucket. If you recall, the narrator spoke to the 8-cent total that we look at in the county. When it comes to taxation as it pertains to your cell phone bill, that is not captured under SPLOST. That is captured under LOST, which is the local option sales tax. That gives us an opportunity to redirect funding for a multitude of things, from administrative fees to defray some of our costs under E911, just to name a few areas. So to address the citizen's question about the Sprint bill, that's not captured under SPLOST, but in fact captured under our LOST, which is the local option sales tax. So with that, I'd like to pivot to Mr. Clark, who's the police chief in the city of Forest Park, to provide any context to what's happening in the city of Forest Park. So Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark? All right, so I'm not getting anything, but remember, we kind of highlighted a lot of projects in the city of Forest Park to include infrastructure build out. Some of their public safety arena is being addressed in their requests as well. And if we can get, if you have any specific questions, then please don't hesitate in putting that up in our Q&A, and we'll ensure that we get that question addressed by the city of Forest Park if there are any specific questions that you may have. I'm looking to see if there are any additional questions. First of all, we're very fortunate to have 4 of our 7 cities represented on the call this afternoon. So we really appreciate our city managers giving up their time and their talents as it pertains to addressing any questions you may have specific to this area. And I'm getting additional questions in. Let's see. The question is, please outline any sidewalk projects in District 1. We will, if you would, go to our ClaytonCountySPLOST.com website. It will provide you more context on specific projects to include transportation and development projects by district. So you can get more context to specific questions as it pertains to sidewalks, as well as road resurfacing projects that's being addressed through SPLOST. Before I got the phone, I want to give Mr. Clark another opportunity. Are you there, Mr. Clark?
That's Forest Park clock, right, Mr. Stanford?
That is correct.
Okay.
There was a question by Mr. Moody. What projects will need to be completed at the GICC building? Again, that's in the city of College Park. To be specific, they're looking at doing some renovations to the GICC. Those projects are not outlined within the referendum itself, but to be specific, they're looking at doing some renovations around the GICC, as I understand it to be. All right, team. Well, again, we will have another session. We will do a phase 2 of the educational session slated for Tuesday, June the 2nd at 11 a.m. We will give the citizens an opportunity to give us some more context or ask additional questions prior to the June 9th voting. So with that, I will give each of the respective city managers an opportunity to provide any closing remarks you may have for our citizens with regard to SPLOST 2020. So we'll start with, we'll go in reverse order. We'll start with you, Mr. Wood, and work our way back up.
I don't think enough can be said to express our appreciation to the public for their support of this SPLOST. I'm glad that I live in a community where enough people understand the value of it, understand the projects that are achieved and realized that would not be realized otherwise without a heavy burden on the property taxpayer. So certainly hope that the voting public will turn out on Tuesday, June the 9th and support the continuation of this property tax, sales tax. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lighty.
I'd like just to echo what Scott said to the public. Thank you very much for your support in this initiative. As a small city in Clayton County, the SPLOST is extremely important to us to be able to do these capital improvement projects and to create an environment for our residents and citizens to enjoy. So thank you very much for that opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to serve you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Clark, Ricky Clark in the city of Jonesboro.
Thank you, Mr. Stanford. Again, I echo what my fellow city managers have stated. You know, one thing I'll highlight, you know, without funds such as SPLOST dollars, it becomes harder for us as smaller municipalities to get these capital improvement projects done. You know, specifically speaking to the city of Jonesboro, over 50% of the property is non-taxable. Over 80% of the property, you know, has a homestead exemption where the property valuation is extremely low, and we pride ourselves on that. However, we rely on dollars such as these to ensure that our residents have all of the amenities, have all of the infrastructure improvements that they so desire. So again, we just ask our citizens and the community to spread the word as to the importance of passage of this SPLOST.
And I know we was working through some technical difficulties with Mr. Clark and Forest Park. Mr. Clark, are you there now?
And Mr. Stanford?
Yes.
This is Chris. Can I say one more quick thing?
Yes, please.
I'd also like to just remind our voters that are here with us today, our residents, that this by voting in the SPLOST, that's anyone who comes into Clayton County, not just our taxpayers. It's anyone who spends any money in our county. They help support the projects that support our community.
Chris, thank you for that reminder. Well, so that will conclude our session today. Again, we thank our citizens for giving of your time this afternoon to, again, listen in to what are the anticipated or proposed projects from the cities as well as the county. Hopefully you got additional context from our city managers as it pertains to some specificity with regard to what's happening in the cities. And again, we thank you for your time and your commitment. As we always say, Clayton Strong, because this is certainly a collaborative effort with the cities as well as the county, as well as the school system. We didn't highlight one of the projects that we've been working in conjunction with the school system on as it pertains to the arena project that they initially passed in their SPLOST. So we ask that if you have additional questions, please go to claytoncountyga.gov to address any additional questions you may have. But if not, please provide more context to your respective citizens or your neighbors as we will reconvene again on June 2nd. That's a Tuesday at 11 a.m. to give an opportunity to provide more context to questions around the SPLOST as we talk more about the educational session. So again, have a great day and God bless.